It's match day here at King Power Stadium, the first of 4 huge games remaining at the end of this championship season. There was certainly drama the last time these two sides met earlier in the season.
Atawu here, pokes that ball onto Ndidi. Leicester are looking really lively. Ndidi, what a ball! Keenan Dewsbury Hall has arrived on cue, and Leicester leads. It feels like a huge goal. West Brom 0, Leicester 1. Keenan Dewsbury Hall's at it again. Back into the box it goes. It's pinball, and it's going to drop to who? Somebody, because Josh Madger has poked it home. And the count is on now. Ian Adjo must slip somebody through. He slipped through Keenan Dewsbury Hall. He's 1-on-1. Dewsbury Hall shifts it to Harry Winks, who surely wins the game. Harry Winks runs over to celebrate. What scenes in the away end. The whole of the Leicester players celebrate and jump on Winks. West Brom went for broke.
Well, yes, what a dramatic game that was back in December. But that very, very late Harry Winks goal secured all 3 points. A repeat of that, just for 3 points, not the drama, would be great again this afternoon, of course. We are the early kick-off on this Saturday, Leicester against West Brom. And the Foxes know exactly what they need to do and exactly what the permutations are between now and the end of the season. 4 games to go, 3 victories is all Leicester need to secure automatic promotion. A win today, of course, sends them top. A draw also sends them top, but 3 points will, of course, be the target here at King Power Stadium against this Carlos Corberán West Brom side. Welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub with me, Dan Bates. Matt Elliott and Steve Howard are with me in the studio. We'll come to those two in just a moment, but we've got to get all of today's important team news ahead of this early kickoff. And Enzo Maresca has made 3 changes to the side that last played just over a week ago, of course, that defeat away at Plymouth. In come Connor Cody, Hamza Chowdhury and Jamie Vardy. Outdrop Justin, Ricardo and Daka. This is the team then in full. It's Hermanson in goal. Fass, Vestergaard, Cody and Chowdhury. Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Ndidi are in the midfield with Mavididi and Fatawu supporting Jamie Vardy. On the bench it's Stolarczyk, Justin, Doyle, Daka, Ricardo, Pratt, Cannon, Yunus and Casey McAteer. From a West Brom point of view, Carlos Corberán makes 3 changes to the side that lost at home to Sunderland. One of those key changes, though, is up top as Brandon Thomas Asante, he's their only fit striker. He picked up a straight red card in that game. You will notice there's a spot on the bench for Josh Madger. His only West Brom goal came against Leicester in that dramatic game in December. He's also had a number of injury issues. This is their 11 then. It's Palmer in goal, Townsend, Kipray, Bartley and Furlong, and Villa and Yokushlu in midfield with Johnston, Mowat and Wallace supporting Dean Garner. Those 3 or 4 will be fairly flexible. We think it might not just be Dean Garner up front, it might be him or even Jed Wallace. We will see when the team kick off in around about an hour. Welcome along to Matt and to Steve. Huge game, isn't it? Let's get straight to it, Steve. First of 4 huge games at the end of this season.
Absolutely, you know, it's all about winning games now. Form goes out the window, performances go out the window. You just need your 3 points, you know, and move on to the next.
It seems quite a long time ago, the last game, doesn't it? Plymouth away now. And I think probably even longer for the players. I bet they're trying to, desperate to get that out of their system a little bit. And I think, certainly I was, straight away after that defeat at Plymouth, thought, right, there's no point moping about it. Let's look forward to the next game. Let's go and attack the next game, face the challenge, albeit a difficult one against West Brom, but with the confidence of being at home as well here at the King Power. Looking for a big performance today from the boys, and much needed, and the incentive is there, isn't it? Very much so, as you said, still in Leicester's hands.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of those other results going Leicester's way over the course of this last couple of weeks. Of course, a win, as we know, sends the Foxes top of the Championship today. We've got plenty to get through this morning as we build up to kick-off at 12:30. We will take a look back at that game with Plymouth last Friday. Ricardo coming close there. Leicester just couldn't quite get an equaliser, could they? We'll hear from manager Enzo Maresca, who's been speaking ahead of this game with the Baggies. And it's usually David Nugent's old goals against teams that we're playing against, but today you get to see 3 of them from Steve Howard. He's now immediately got a big smile on his face.
It's quite slim in that kit as well, isn't it?
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I can't get involved in that one. We know now, Matt.
Me neither, mate. I was just getting there first. That's all.
Right, let's go actually straight to the team news again, because there are headlines in there. Matt, I'm going to start with you because you were down at Plymouth. One of the key changes, or the eye-catching changes, is in central defence.
Yeah, hasn't happened for a while, has it? Whenever the Vestergaard and Fass have been available, pretty much as far as back as I can remember this season, they've been first choice. And the majority of the time, there's no argument against it. But of late, you have to say it's been patchy defensively, collectively. They've looked more vulnerable generally. But Fass in particular has a few error-strewn, I think is the phrase, isn't it? Error-strewn performances. And eventually, it's not a categoric, striking off from the squad or, the possibility of getting back into the lineup. But I think it was about time. Really. And when you've got someone of the calibre of Connor Cody on the wings, it's almost, not criminal's too strong a word, but it's a huge risk not to utilise him.
Well, Fass goes into that sort of the left centre-back, the left-back role.
Yeah.
Is that how you see it, how we've got it set there, with Fass on the left, then Vestergaard middle, Cody right?
Yes, I would say so. But it being edged out, I don't know, it's a bit of a strange selection, really, when you look at it, because Fass has played out there on the left before, hasn't he? Which we presume is going to be the case. But it's not. I don't think he's particularly comfortable in that place. And it's a little bit of a risk. But he's made some brave decisions at times, doesn't he? Maresca. He's not afraid to do that. But with Fass out there, it's not his natural position. And having a bit of a rocky time and then being put on that left, you're thinking, okay, big test for Fass, mentality-wise.
I think you're right. It's a big risk putting him out on the left. Great. I think Connor Cody's come in. I think he'll steady the ship and use the experience, because at this time of the season, as we both know, it's one of them where performances sort of dip. You need your leaders on the pitch, and I think Connor Cody is one of these leaders who will pull people about, shout, scream at these players and get them performing the way they need to do. But I think it is a big risk that on the left-hand side playing Fass.
But then you look at the West Brom side, Steve, and there isn't a recognised striker there. They've had a lot of injuries. DK's been injured, Madge's been injured for a lot of the season. Brandon Thomas Asante, the man that gets most of their goals, he's out suspended. That obviously is good news for Leicester, but it might be difficult for the back line because you don't know whether it'll be Wallace, Diangana, even Moat might play in that more advanced position, or they might all be...
Yeah, it's a known. I mean, it's a huge, break for Leicester that Asante's not playing because he's, I watched the game at their place and he caused them problems. So that's a big miss for West Brom, but... you don't know how they're going to play, so it'll be interesting to see how the formation, how they set up.
Yeah, you look at West Brom's recent form as well. They're not firing 100%, are they? Either they've had the only win in recent weeks was at home to Rotherham, was it? I think. So they've got their sort of stumbling issues at the moment. They're in a bit of not no man's land, but they're safe pretty much, aren't they, in terms of the playoff position? But they're not going to catch any of the top 4. So it's a little bit of a limbo, and let's see the season through.
They've been 5th basically all season.
Yeah.
But there's 2 ways of looking at their current form. As you rightly said, just that 1 win over Rotherham in their last 5, but only 2 defeats in their last 15.
Yeah, no, listen, they're a decent outfit at this level. without a doubt. I mean, that was a superb win at the Hawthorns with Leicester when West Brom were really flying back earlier in the season. But I suppose, you could say maybe the edge, without seeing them regularly, the edge is maybe not on their game at the moment. They're sort of ticking over until they really need to go for the push in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But having said that, they're very capable. When you look at them, and Leicester are obviously a bit rocky at the moment. Need to steady the ship, and they've got some strength on the bench as well. So it's going to be a real good matchup today.
Yeah, you can see it being a good game, hopefully today.
Yeah, I mean the game at the Hawthorns was tight, and obviously you went 1-1, and then obviously Winks pops up and scores a win, and it was one of them moments where when it went 1-1, you just thought, Leicester's done it again. They've lost the lead again, but obviously carried on and got the win. And you thought from then, right, here we go, we're going to kick on, but it just never materialised. So you can never really write off an opponent like West Brom because they're always going to be strong.
Yeah, it's quite often that Leicester don't finish teams off totally, and they sort of oppositions hang in against them. But from memory, that game, I think that was one of Leicester's better performances of the season. Not just the result, because I think West Brom were flying at the time, and everyone's thinking, this could be a tough one. This could be a real test. Leicester went there, I wouldn't say totally dominated, but they were the classier team by some distance. And it was only set pieces and a bit of a scramble and a late surge that caused Leicester problems.
But I think that's what it was, because Leicester dominated the game. I remember they dominated the game, and then they went 1-1. And you thought they've done it again. They kind of finish it off, but obviously they finished it off, and you thought, right, we've turned the corner. But obviously, it didn't materialise like that.
Yeah, that it was a great game actually. When you do look back at it, and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall obviously got the ball rolling, goal and an assist for him. That was when he was really in form, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Wilfred Ndidi also, early part of the season. It was a new sort of type of football, new movements, people in new positions.
It was a great goal, that.
Into new areas, and really, that was training ground perfect, the first goal. And, well, that wasn't far off, but it's not one he necessarily practiced, but there'd be the practice going on the counter. But what was that, 93rd minute or whatever it was?
And the rest, I think, yeah.
So
very late.
To have that energy. So I noticed there, Kieran Dewsbury, and I'm so jealous of him. There's a balance and poise he had when he was running.
Did you not have that?
His top half of his body doesn't even move. Head rolling and everything. And it just that enabled him to have the awareness and the poise to just slot that ball. But more of the same from Kiernan today would be nice.
Yeah, poise and cultured play from Kiernan. Not many will have called you cultured, will they?
I've sampled a few cultures, but I haven't learned much from them.
We'll see some cultured finishes of Steve's a little bit later on, but we do need to look back at that game just over a week ago, of course, away at Plymouth. Did end up in disappointment for the Foxes.
Pace has just slowed down a little bit, and Ricardo tries to quicken it. Edge of the penalty area. Ricardo's in here. Good save by the goalkeeper. Ricardo gets himself back on his feet. Fatawu, 6-yard box, goes towards the back post. It's turned into the 6-yard area and cleared away by Plymouth, but the Foxes coming really close there with a couple of half chances. But now it's Plymouth on the counter-attack over on the far side. Bundu. Hardy goes towards the near post, and the shot will come in, and they've scored. It was a counter-attack, and Plymouth, with their first real attack of the game, lead this game here at Home Park. Pratt down this right-hand side, uses the angle, Fatawu's away, into the penalty area, into the 6-yard box, and Daka misses the best chance of the evening for Leicester City. He went towards the near post, the ball was excellent from Fatawu, but the connection wasn't great from Daka, and he dragged it wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. Leicester with loads of bodies ahead of the ball. It's played into the area, and an opportunity here for Mavadidi, who's who's got his feet all wrong. There was no flag.
They're obviously giving their all, but it's just not working for them.
Keeper's gone down, and it's just got hold of it. Vardy it was who was charging through the centre, but it was brave goalkeeping by Michael Cooper. Just for a moment, Leicester were hoping that as he went down at the feet of Vardy, the ball might spill away from him and there might be a tap-in, but...
Yeah, so close on a number of occasions there, Leicester. It just didn't go for them, did it, against Plymouth? You were there, Matt, for us just over a week ago, and it was a a tough evening, a chastening evening, really.
Yeah, it turned out that way. You could tell, I don't know whether it sort of transmitted itself on the cameras or on audio, but you could tell before the game it was going to be a big challenge because the supporters, 15,000 of them, I think, they minus the Leicester contingent, so say 13,000, they were so loud, so passionate, and so sort of emotional, and it was quite stirring to watch it before the game. I remember thinking, like, Leicester needs to be up for this properly. Started off the game well, didn't they? You know, looked in command for 20 minutes or so, and it was almost a matter of, you know, when they scored, not if, but just one sort of switch off, loose bit of defending, and all of a sudden it was a little bit of a case of recent deja vu, was it? And Leicester struggled to react, really. And Plymouth, full credit to them, they had something to hold on to, and they were holding on to it for dear life because they absolutely worked their socks off. And Leicester just got to be more ruthless in those important moments, because otherwise, as we've seen, games can drift away from them when really they shouldn't.
I think towards the end of the game summed, you know, Leicester's season so far. Like you said, they need to be more ruthless. You know, they're creating chances, but they're not just finishing these chances off. And I think it's come back to bite them, because obviously they're not winning games. I mean, to go to Plymouth, I've played at Plymouth loads of times. It's not an easy place to go, no matter what league they're in, because it's Plymouth.
Yeah, lively, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I watched that game, and I just thought, you know what, they've created enough chances there to win the game, to go down there, to do a job, come back with 3 points. But yet again, they haven't done that.
Do you know what? They are, at least they're creating those. And
Yeah.
Bristol City away springs to mind.
I mean, that's
Millwall as well.
Millwall, they've had the chances to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, you know, the teams you're playing, you're not really concerned. If you're creating chances and you're missing them, at least you're creating chances. It's when a team doesn't create chances, that's when you've got a problem.
Yeah, I think that's more than a fair point, and it does sort of.
This was the Millwall one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this is really late on, mind you. Up until that late surge and made a couple of changes. Dennis Pratt came on, I think, didn't he? And Ian Acho. You know, like missed header from Daka. There was a whole flurry of activity in the last 5 minutes plus injury time. But that doesn't tell the whole story of the game, does it? They were pretty blunt in attack for the majority of the game. And then it's mentioned about the chances, and on the face of it, you go, yeah, we've got a good point there, which there is. But for the previous 85 minutes, they look susceptible defensively on the few times that Millwall broke. Same with Bristol City, same story. That was almost freakish how Vardy didn't get score, at least a couple. But it's that sort of time for Leicester, and something's got to change. You can't keep saying, next time or nearly or unlucky. It's got to be today.
Yeah, Vardy back in the starting 11. For those of you just joining us, that's some of the headlining team news. Connor Cody also in at the back as well. But yeah, Vardy's back up top. What as a former striker yourself, of course, what do you think of?
Oh, I like that. I'm excited every time he plays. You know, I think he should be in, especially this towards the back end of the season when, you know, you need your leaders. He's
got a good record against West Brom as well, 7 in total against them, and some of them have been massive.
Corkers, haven't they? Yeah.
I mean, even now, you know, fair enough. We say this all the time when we watch him play. Fair enough, his pace might go, but his presence. You know, when you see him on a team sheet, no matter who he is, it's Jamie Vardy. You know, you think that wasn't that quick. So you know, you see him on the team sheet, and you know, you think, oh, he's going to cause problems no matter what he does.
That goal.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Wasn't it? I think that and the Tottenham goal where he just lifted it over Lloris were exquisite. Then people say that he's a one-trick pony, Jamie Vardy, and just take a look at that.
Could do with some of that today, and as Steve rightly says, though, it's almost a mind game thing. Totally. Do you think seeing Jamie Vardy then in that starting 11, and we heard from Enzo, and we'll hear from him a little bit later as well. He said this week that there were doubts over Ricardo, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, and Vardy. Vardy and Dewsbury Hall have made it. Thankfully, Kiernan, bit of illness that he had. He's obviously got over that. Vardy's got over whatever he has. Ricardo on the bench today, but having Vardy in there is so key.
Sorry, do we know the situation there? Because that's a little bit of a surprise.
I think he
Unless
just said
it's
minutes, basically.
Yeah, sorry, Vardy.
No, absolutely. Like I said, he in there. I think he's him with Cody at the back. You know, you got Vardy up top, Cody at the back. I think that's, You know, that's the experience you need. You know, in games like this towards the end of the season. I think it's two good changes he's made.
Yeah. Well, Cody's last game was the Sunderland one. Our last start was away at Sunderland, and Leicester were really resolute up there, kept a clean sheet.
He's gritty, isn't he? And he can play a bit. We all know that. And everyone talks about his communication, which is huge, and especially right now, you need someone who's, you know, keeps the players, teammates on their toes, which he does naturally. But his enthusiasm sort of boundless, and that transfers itself to the rest of the squad, as does the fact of having Jamie Vardy in from the start. You know, high pressure situation. Vardy's your man, isn't he? And just got to try and find a way of making the most of him, maximising his capabilities now. Because a lot of the times through games, Leicester playing it around the edges, and Vardy's not involved, and it must be frustrating for him. But I don't know. Perhaps if they can play that, I know it's against their sort of style, but play that ball that little bit earlier. Yeah. Test them out. Take a bit of a risk. You know, okay if you give it away, it breaks down and you turn over possession. But that when it is successful, you're going to get something out of it. You're going to get a threat on goal, and that's what Vardy's all about. He's not sort of tippy tappy. He adapts himself well, doesn't he? I mean, he gets on the end of everything as we're seeing there.
Yeah.
But nice to sort of, if he could get in a situation where he can show a bit of his individual ability, which doesn't surface too often these days.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you try and change the way Leicester play to a certain extent, like what you said, Matt.
Just a tweak.
You know what I mean? It's very uncommon for them to do that, because obviously the style is the style. But when Vardy plays, I just think, even though, yes, fair enough, he might not be as quick as he was, but he's still quick. Just to let him play on the shoulder and play the balls over the top. And I say sometimes
like that one almost, yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes they want to play it and they think, oh, we don't really play that. But when you look at Jamie Vardy up front, you think, I'm playing it. Just play it.
Yeah, 16 goals in all competitions. Still Leicester's top scorer this season, and we're seeing
only half a season, really, isn't it?
A range of goals as well here.
Yeah, well, again, it goes back to the point made earlier that people say, "Oh, typical Jamie Vardy," which element of truth. You know, the ball down the channel and he skids in there, doesn't he, and nicks it round the keeper or dinks it, whatever. He scored a whole range of goals, hasn't he? From distance, headers, tap-ins, spectacular, inventive. Yeah, he's pretty much got the lot. His goal against Germany for England, you know.
Man City.
Exactly. People just choose to see it how they want, but you know, he's a rounded centre forward, but has those main threats. And maybe doesn't get utilised often enough.
Yeah, speaking of rounded centre forwards, you've got one sat next to you. Of course, what a lovely segue into Steve Howard's lovely hat-trick against West Brom back in 2008.
And it will be Steve Howard here to put Leicester ahead. If he scores, he does. Kindly beaten, all ends up. It's 2-1 Leicester City. Against all the odds. Good run from Oakley and a nice little ball in here. And it's Howard for the second time. I think it was Hendry who just nudged it into his path, but Steve Howard finishes emphatically. Uses out here to Hales. Hales has had quite an impact in this game. And there might just be another goal here for Leicester City. It's a hat-trick. It's a hat-trick for Steve Howard, and it's 4 for Leicester.
Well, a 4-1 victory back in 2008 at the Hawthorns with a hat-trick.
Yeah, that was a good day. That was one of my better hat-tricks, but I always used to like playing against West Brom. I got 4. Yeah, 4. But I always enjoyed playing against West Brom. So obviously we beat them at Wembley when I was at Derby as well. So it was quite nice.
I must admit, that last goal,
we can see it.
Did you see the pace?
I actually thought they'd reverse to a montage of Jamie Vardy. Look at him go. Go on, son. Chugging away.
Those were the days.
Hey, not a bad finish. Even the penalty was a good strike, in fairness, Steve. Got to give it to you.
Little shimmy there. Back the other way.
There you go.
Watch the eyes.
Yep.
Seasoned campaigner.
Yes, 3 goals there for Steve Howard against West Brom in one game. As we've said, Jamie Vardy's got a brilliant record. 5 in his last 5 against West Brom, 7 in total against them. He starts today. Let's hope he can get back on the score sheet again. He starts, of course, a decision made by manager Enzo Maresca, of course. And he's been asked what he's made of West Brom so far in his analysis of them this season.
Yeah, anyway, the manager, we know that is very intense. They are very intense off the ball in the way they press, in the way they play. They play all season with the line of 4. They just play with the line of 5 against the Wolves and QPR in the second half. So we can expect them in both situations, line of 4 or line of 5. We see, but for sure the structure doesn't modify the way they work on off the ball. That they are very very intense.
They're a side who still want to confirm their playoff space, and we've spoken before about teams when they're battling at either end of the table, how much more difficult that makes it. But the fact that they are so close to securing a place in the playoffs, how significant is that ahead of this weekend?
No, yeah, it's we said already that every game now it's. I think it's not random that in the last 2 games we lost. Leeds in the last 2 games they did 1 point, and Ipswich in the last 2 games they did 2 points. We always forgot the same, that they are human beings and they see that they are close and they miss something. And at this game tomorrow will be exactly like Southampton, Preston and Blackburn, the last one. In the same way we play against Millwall or Plymouth. Everyone now is playing for something, so will be for sure 100% tough. But fortunately we play at home and we have also the boost from our fans. That I always said the same, that when they help us, like in the last game against Norwich, especially in the last hour, and against Birmingham, you can see that you almost play with 1 extra player.
Just finally, Enzo, I mean, you play before everyone else this week. I know you talked about that last week when you were playing Tuesday, Friday, whether that was an advantage, but because of the amount of time between the last game and this game, do you feel there is more of an advantage this week to play before everyone else?
If we win, yes. If we don't win, no.
Short and sharp from Enzo Maresca there. That was him speaking ahead of this game with West Brom. A game, as ever, available to you in a number of ways on Fox's Hub. For those of you in certain territories, you can watch the game with us on Fox's Hub. All of the action with our commentators, Chris Parrott and Jerry Taggart. The game passes are available for just £10. If you are here in the UK or anywhere else, in fact, and you'd rather listen to the game, then you can do the game with our commentators, Jerry and Chris. There are Listen Live monthly passes which are available for you on Fox's Hub. We didn't get too much of an answer from Enzo about the fixtures, but we can actually look at the remaining fixtures for both Leicester and, well, all the teams in the battle, if you like, for the promotion places. Does it suit Leicester that they play first? Does it suit Leicester? Does it suit even Southampton and Leeds? They all play a number of times before Ipswich play again.
Yeah, well, like Enzo says there, if you win, then it gives you that advantage, doesn't it? But I mean, it's so finely balanced, isn't it? I mean, you look at Leicester, and obviously, like we said about it being in their hands, and if they win 3 out of 4, they're up. That sounds quite not simple, but it's straightforward. It's there in front of you. You know what the minimum. Well, no, what you need to achieve, and you'd think Leicester would be capable of that. But then you take into account the nervousness of the situation, how they're playing of late. They are stuttering a bit, and they're difficult games, each one of them in their own right, aren't they? So it's not as straightforward as people would think, and as everyone says, twists and turns are plenty, isn't it? Leeds, Southampton last game, and
yeah,
there's no point looking too far ahead. You get yourself in a right muddle and pickle when you're being knickers in a twist or whatever.
You don't even look who we're playing today, man.
yeah.
To be fair, it's not a bad little attitude to have, really. You play 1 game, done.
Yeah,
done. Next.
Just
next.
Go. Which manager I'm sure will say to his players, deal with today, because there's no point.
Yeah,
thinking,
if
we beat
absolutely.
Southampton, but sugar, we've lost today.
So I mean, the promotions obviously I've had and obviously Matt's had, but you just take, and I know it's a big cliche thing, 1 game at a time. You think, right, get this, don't care, we'll play 3 points next, until they get the job done, and that's the mentality the boys have got to have.
Yeah, I think the one key thing when you look at that, Matt, is there's 3 H's next to Leicester's game.
Yeah, exactly.
Comfortably more than anybody else. Leeds, Ipswich 1 home game each, Southampton just the 1 home game as well. And it's in Leicester's hands, and it's very much in their hands in terms of where the fixtures are as well.
Yes, but like I said, all difficult games in their own right as well. And Southampton, simply okay, 2 out of 4. They're away at Cardiff today, aren't they? They're on a bit of a roll, aren't they? But you fancy them. They sort of slipped back into a rhythm, haven't they? With tough opposition. You know, there's cases for and against. Looking at pretty much every fixture there, and I wouldn't like put a banker on any of them. To be fair, the way it is, so it's very much up in the air, isn't it? But I just think Leicester have got as best they can, strong-minded. I'm pleased that Cody's back in the mix. I think he'll give a good feel to the rest of the players. Jamie Vardy, obviously. You've got to remember, at times, and we weren't getting carried away about Leicester, but we were lauding them and trying to underplay it, how good they looked. You know, they looked a class above, and when they play to their best, they are. But certainly than most teams in this league, they've got to recapture that mentality, and that ruthlessness that Steve mentioned about. They've got to be clinical, be forthright, aggressive, be really professional about their play, and have that in their mind, and believe it as well, and go and show it, go and demonstrate it to the opposition. They used to intimidate the life out of teams. Half the time, you thought they'd won the game before it started. Yeah. That's not happening anymore. They've got to get back to that sort of performance.
And with the fixtures as well, I think, for me personally, when I played, I'd prefer to start, like 12:30 kick-off, get in, get the job done, so everybody else is looking at us going, oh, okay, well, they've won again. We've got to win. Put the pressure right back on them, because I think
it's up to you to grasp it.
Exactly, yeah. I think it's a huge marker that, play early, get the win, and then put the pressure on everybody else.
Jerry Taggart is our co-commentator for us this afternoon. We are just now into the afternoon. Do you agree with what Matt and Steve have been saying, Jerry? Does it suit Leicester playing early this afternoon, do you think?
Yeah, I think what Steve says is right, especially when it's getting to the stage of proceedings where, there's 4 teams going for 2 positions, basically. If you can get over the line in an early start, then you put the pressure on. And so it's imperative that Leicester, up their game today. Simple as that, against a West Brom side who, have got, visions of themselves getting promoted via the playoffs. So, tough game today.
Yeah, the West Brom, Jerry, have been in 5th pretty much the whole season, or certainly since November, December time. That's where they've found themselves. They've never really gone up, they've never really gone down. They're not mathematically sure of the playoffs, but it'll take a big shift from the teams below them and from them as well in form for them not to do it. Does that help Leicester as well, do you think, today, or will they still be on it as much as they would have done halfway through the season?
Well, I know that the recent form isn't electric, even though I think you said they've lost 2 and 15. So it's not electric. But for me, the most important thing today, Dan, is that you start with a 0 next to your name. And they've got to try and keep it that way. Leicester have conceded 1 goal in the last 5 games. And they need to somehow convert that 1 goal, conceding 1 goal into a 0. If you look at the goals they've conceded, they've been pretty soft, in all honesty. So bringing Connor Cody in hopefully will make them that little bit more resilient at the back, because you always fancy them at home to go and score. So I think it's really imperative that, they start the game with a clean sheet. Let's hope they can finish that way as well.
Yeah, on that subject, without sort of scrutinising individuals too much, Tags, it's Matthew, by the way. What's your viewpoint on Fass, 1, maintaining his place, but 2, seemingly nudging over into that left back slot?
Yeah, well, time will only tell. I know he's filled in there before in the past, hasn't he? Yeah. And he's done okay on occasion there. And let's face it, if you analyse the last 2 goals conceded in the away games, they both come down his side, the right-hand side. Leicester's right-hand side, the opposition's left-hand side. The goal at Millwall conceded and the goal at Plymouth conceded. So maybe it's a bit of a a twisted genius from Enzo to stick him on the left-hand side to keep him out of the way of the firing line.
Yeah, without offending him too much.
Without offending him too much.
I'm not dropping you, but still involved.
But he's obviously in the side because he's comfortable on the ball, and that's Enzo's most important prerequisite for can you, as a centre half, can you play? And I think that's the only reason why Conor Coady's been kept out of the side, is because Faes on the ball is probably a bit better technically than Coady. But to see Coady coming in will hopefully give Leicester a bit more defensive steel, which is what Leicester, desperately need at the minute.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I'm sure we'll see and hear a lot of Conor Coady this afternoon. You can watch all the action, of course, on Fox's Hub in certain territories. Listen to it if not. There's plenty more as well on Fox's Hub for you to take a look at. We are the early kickoff, of course, today, so you've got all afternoon to head onto the website. There are a couple of documentaries there, actually. One involving Ben Nelson and his journey from the academy right into the first team here on Filbert Way. There's also a documentary, A Legacy for Kun Vishai, which is available, of course, on YouTube and on Fox's Hub as well. A fantastic watch that is as well. And Leicester's the Place, a new podcast available with Muzzy Is It in conversation with Matt and Jerry. Matt keeps looking at me with a smirk on his face. So.
The character out of Fiddler on the Roof or something.
With his hat. He was actually, though, he was a great listen, wasn't he? For the hour and a half or so that you spoke to him. You can either listen to that wherever you get your podcasts or also watch it either on Fox's Hub or on YouTube. Right, let's refocus our attention on today's game. In particular, today's visitors, West Brom, as we've said, 2 defeats in their last 15 games, and only one other side has kept more clean sheets than them in the league this season.
Two away games before the final game of the season at home, and you don't want it hanging till then, do you? And yes, rivals might drop points before then, but I think Albion just want to sort their own business and sort of close it off, before the nerves of the final game or two, I would say. Obviously, this isn't easy by any stretch, this clash, but Albion's form of late has been a bit up and down. They've been on a long unbeaten run, but a lot of draws in there, and obviously lost last time out. So you could spin the run of just one defeat in 5, actually. Sorry, just one victory in 5, I should say. So it's a bit of an intriguing one, really, when you throw into it Leicester's form as well. Really looking forward to it. And probably good news for Leicester is you may have seen the one-match ban for Saturday for Brandon Thomas-Asante, the striker. He's Albion's 12-goal top scorer. He's had to sort of shoulder the burden for goals as the centre forward this season, and he's had injury problems of his own. There's been spells where Albion have had no recognised striker available, really. The other two strikers at the club, Daryl Dike, US international, and Josh Madger, have both had more than one very long spell outside. Dike is out for a long time, and Madger, whose only West Brom goal was at the Hawthorns late on against Leicester in what should have been a point.
Thanks to Lewis Cox there from the Express and Star. Looking ahead to this game with West Brom. Both sides actually have made 3 changes to the teams that respectively lost 1-0 in their last games in the Championship. Leicester, of course, to Plymouth, West Brom to Sunderland. This is the Leicester team then. It's Hermansen in goal, Faes, Vestergaard, Coady and Chowdhury across the back. For Coady and Chowdhury, 2 of the 3 changes. Winks, Shrewsbury Hall and Ndidi in midfield with Mavididi and Fatawu supporting the 3rd change, Jamie Vardy. West Brom, as we just heard there from Lewis, of struggling a little bit in the strikers department, not a recognised one on the pitch. Brandon Thomas-Asante picking up a red card in their last game. They've got Palmer in goal, Townsend, Kipray, Bartley and Furlong across the back 4, and Villa and Ukushlu in midfield with Johnston, Mowat and Wallace supporting Grady Diangana. We're edging closer and closer to kick-off here on Matchday Live on Fox's Hub, and the more you hear that you know how good a side West Brom are. Clearly, they have been all season. They wouldn't be fifth practically all season if they weren't a good side. So Leicester know they're up against it today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We all know West Brom's a footballing side. You know, and when you come up against teams like that, it's going to be hard to break them down. You know, they're going to have a lot of possession because but Leicester's got to do the same. But you know, I think we haven't with the home games Leicester's got. I think the crowd's going to play a huge game in this as well. You know, if you get the crowd behind them, the team early doors and make it an atmosphere, I think it'll be a struggle for West Brom to do.
Yeah, again, harping back to the game at the Hawthorns, might be slightly different here at the King Power, but West Brom went and tried to get after Leicester a little bit, didn't they? They try and they're quick on the press, aren't they? And nearest man to the ball, etc. But Leicester were very good on the day and managed to play their way through on numerous occasions. So there might be a different entity today with the home game being in Leicester's favour, but yeah, no, a real good matchup really. I mean, they're a huge club, aren't they, West Brom? They've got a very decent squad. A bit of not shoestring, but a bit tight financially. But the manager has done excellent, hasn't he? He's sort of a little bit under the radar. I think a lot of people. I'm mildly surprised that West Brom haven't challenged more seriously the top four, really. But it's almost a banker that they're going to be involved in the playoffs since the start of the season, isn't it? And it's sort of like a marker of where you are in the league. I think how you get on against them.
And fair play to Carlos Corberán, as you said. He took over midway through last season. They were in the bottom three. He's turned their fortunes round. They're in the playoffs this year. That's the voice of former Leicester central defender Matt Elliott. Let's hear from one of the current central defenders. Yannick Vestergaard has been in conversation with our commentator Chris Parrott ahead of kickoff.
It's a huge game today, isn't it?
Yes.
How much are you looking forward to it?
Very much so. I mean, when you lose, the best thing is to have the game a couple of days later, so you can get that feeling out of the body. So we've been carrying this for now a little over a week. Been desperate to come out onto the pitch, and today is just it's a game that I and all of us have been looking forward to, and just hopefully set things right and put us in a good position to reach the overall target that we've had all season.
What are you expecting from West Brom?
A tough game. They've been a good team this year. They gave us a tough game at their place early on the season. They've got a very good defensive record. I think they've got the most clean sheets as well. So it is a team that's going to be well organised and that's going to be tough to play against. And we will definitely be a challenge, but one that we're up for.
And you, Wout and Connor are all in the starting 11. How do you see that one working out tactically at the back?
Fine. We've been so before. We played at Ipswich. We played this way. So I'm very confident. A lot of quality everywhere on the pitch. So very confident.
That was Yannick Vestergaard there speaking to our commentator Chris Parrott ahead of kickoff. Just 15 minutes to go until the players take the field here at King Power Stadium, a game that's available, as we've said to you, on Fox's Hub. Whether you want to watch or listen to watch, it's available in certain territories. You can get your Game Pass for just £10 and you can also listen to it wherever you are. Excuse me. With a Listen Live Pass. As we've said though, Steve, already, big game today.
Yeah, a huge game. You know, Leicester for me, they've got to start right, get the crowd up, and try and and dominate. Because, like Matt said before, at their place, the Hawthorns, West Brom came out and tried to get in Leicester's face. You know, if they do that again, they've just got to retain the possession and play the side in. But I think the fans are going to be huge today. So if they get behind the team, then it'll be. I think it's a Leicester win today.
Yeah, just looking for Leicester. I know sort of slightly against their nature or their style of play these days, but it's just kind of like grasp the initiative and grasp the moment as well. Or I know people say play the game, not the occasion, but there's a bit of pressure on today. Like go and show and demonstrate, not just to themselves and to the supporters, but the opposition first and foremost, that they mean business, that they want to take control of their situation. You're talking about the early kick-off. Use that as a positive. Say, right, we're going to lay down this marker today. We're going to get the 3 points. How are you going to deal with that to the others? Not, oh, right, okay, we'll keep possession. We'll play reasonably well and hopefully get a win. But if a point's not too bad, it's still a positive result. Don't want that sort of mentality. It's not do or die today, but it's hugely important that they get a win. Never mind the draw. The Southampton big game coming up. We'll deal with that then. But go and demonstrate. Go and set the scene for the supporters to really get behind them, like Steve says.
Yeah. I think it's, even first and foremost, you're going to walk off the pitch with 3 points, haven't you? No matter how you play, no matter what you do, you're 3 points, and then you're on to the next. And I think, yes, you want to play, good football, nice football to watch, but it's all about getting them 3 points today. Simple as that.
Yeah, a point sends them top, but 3 points vital today from a Leicester City point of view. It's about time now to hand you over to our commentary team this afternoon, also with a little explainer of what's available to you on Fox's Hub.
If you are watching on lcfc.com, just sit back and relax. If you are watching on social media, the live stream will finish shortly. If you want to continue enjoying our coverage, you'll need to head over to lcfc.com/Fox's Hub and purchase one of our game passes. If you are watching in a territory where the game isn't live on TV, you'll be able to watch a live video stream on Fox's Hub. Please visit lcfc.com/territories to check. If you can't find your location, live audio commentary is still available. You'll need to have an lcfc.com account before you purchase your Game Pass. If you already have one, please sign in and select your product at lcfc.com/Fox's Hub. Select the Buy button and you'll be taken to the payment page. Once you've followed the simple payment steps, press Continue at the bottom of the screen and you'll be taken to the Fox's Hub homepage. If you purchased a video pass, please select Watch Live from the Fox's Hub drop-down menu. If you purchased a Listen Live pass, please select Listen Live. If you purchased a seasonal or monthly video pass and the game is not being shown in your territory, please select Listen Live. If you are having a payment or technical issue, please email Leicester TV Support at streamamg.com. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the match.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King